Hi, I'm Phyllis from iSoul, and welcome back to my channel. And today I was digging in the old trunk and I came across some of these old quilts. And I thought I should put a label on them so that my family would know at some point in time where they came from or what they were used for. And so this is probably my first quilt that I made. I think I attempted one before, but I didn't have very good luck with it. It was too complicated of a quilt. And I didn't have a pattern. I was just using a little piece of newspaper that I saw this pattern in. And it was pretty complicated, so I never got it finished. But so this is kind of cute. It was an embroidery pattern, and I used a liquid embroidery that came in a tube. And you just put the tube, press the tube, and it was sort of like a pen, only it was in a tube, and you embroidered it that way. And there was this part of it, and it was used a lot for my son, and then for my daughters as they came. So that one was made in 1964, and I put a little label on here as to why it was made and who made it and that sort of thing. So that was my first quilt. And then this quilt was one that my grandmother, my husband's grandmother, made for him in 1939. And I don't know, hopefully you can pick up the pattern. Move these out of the way. And it was all hand quilted, but it was never used. It was never used. So I have a little label. On it, and so that was his baby quilt. But look at those beautiful little stitches. And this quilt was well used as well. This was made by my aunt for our wedding. She gave it to us for a wedding gift. And I put a label on it. It was made, she gave it to us in 1962. So but I don't think there's any breaks in it. The fabric is all good, but it was washed and well used. Oh, yeah, it's starting to break. No, along the edge here, it's starting to break down. Now I think she just took this and folded it over. So there's only like the one thickness there. So it was really a nice quilt. And then I have another one here. And it was made in the early 70s. The green would never give it away. But the Dresden plates were made years and years before. My husband's grandmother had made them, and my mother-in-law had them, just these circles. And I thought, oh, it's too bad not to use those up. So I just took some fabric and placed them on in some kind of a pattern. and appliqued them on. I did applique them on with the sewing machine. And some of them are starting to break apart. There's certain fabrics. Now these fabrics were made, I don't know, I would think 30s, maybe even earlier. But talk about saving things. I still have a few of these scraps from the original ones. So I took them apart and I'm going to use them to applique over top. And there's a few of them that's a little different sizes, you know, they're not all perfect, but I think they'll fit in pretty well. But just look at those beautiful old fabrics. And they probably were from scraps of fabric or from clothing. I don't know. Maybe aprons or dresses. But so I made this one in the early 70s for my son's bed. And so I put a label on it. I put a label on it here. And I just made one with, I didn't do a fancy label. I just wrote on it with a pen and I serged around it and hand stitched it on. I thought if I make a fancy one, it will probably never get done. So this way, at least they're labeled. Someday if I get ambitious, I may just take it off and put another one on. But I think this is a nice firm fabric, so it'll cover up there nicely. And here's another one that I have to find a piece for. But you see, they weren't the same distance. Well, some were longer and shorter, but they're still around. And his grandmother died in the 50s somewhere. So these have been around a long time. So subscribe to my channel. I've got 800 subscribers now. So help me to get to the 1,000 would be great. And thanks for watching, and bye now.